Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you're here, I hope you will stick around. Today we have a very old book tag that used to be around, and I saw it years ago and want to do it now. That's all I'm gonna say. Today is the coffee book tag, which combines two of my favorite things, coffee and books. So, you know, perfect. Okay, so number 1, Black. Name a series that's tough to get into but has hardcore fans. For this one, I went with the Shadowhunter Chronicles. I chose this one because I feel like it's very hard to get into in the sense that you don't know where to start. Because everyone says like the first series, The Mortal Instruments, is kind of hard to get into, or is not the best, so why would you continue reading? But you need to continue reading to get to the other books that are so much better. So it's a little bit contradictory. I can get why people don't want to really get into it, and it's just, there's so many books in this world. There are so many. It's a very detailed world, which again contributes to the fact that I think it might be a little bit hard to get into, but the people who love these books are hardcore. They love the world, they love the characters, they love the relationship. That's the one I picked. What's it about? Well, this one specifically, this is the first book in the Mortal Instruments series, which is the first book published in this world. Not the first book set in this world, but the first book published. So yeah, it's probably kind of along the worst. There are some things that are kind of not the best, but this is about a girl called Clary who finds out that she's a shadow hunter, which is a different species essentially. They are half angel, half human, and they hunt down demons from another dimension, and it's her getting into this world and learning about it and becoming a shadow hunter herself. So it's a fun time. It's an urban fantasy. Honestly, I do think you should pick it up if you're interested. So yes, that's the first one. The next one is Peppermint Mocha. Name a book that gets more popular during the winter or a festive time of the year. I went with a very easy option for this. It's the first one that popped into my head and the only one I could think of. So we're gonna go with a very easy one, which is A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I read a Spanish version of this for class, I think, and I've seen the movie multiple times. Both the Muppet version and the Mickey Mouse version and the human version. Anyway, if you did not know, this is a classic for the Christmas time. I feel like it's very obvious why it gets popular during the Christmas time. It is set during Christmas Eve. It is about this old man called Scrooge who gets visited by 3 ghosts so he can change his perspective and his attitude toward... I feel like everyone knows what this is about anyway, so yay. Okay, so number 3 is Hot Chocolate. What is your favorite children's book? I had a hard time figuring out kind of what was considered a children's book, so I went to this one because this is one that I think is meant for younger readers, but is also very good for older readers, and I also still love it. I reread it recently and I still love it, and it is Wonder by R.J. Palacio. Oh my god, this takes me back. There's also a movie now, which is also pretty good. I watched it recently for the first time and I really did like it. I think they did a very good job at adapting this book into a movie. Anyway, this is about a young boy called August, and he is 10 years old, and he was born with a disfiguremented face. So it's very hard for him. He doesn't look like everyone else, and he has a hard time kind of like properly getting used to his face. He's used to it, but then he goes to middle school for the first time, and he faces harsh criticism. Like, he faces bullies for the first time. He faces having to like deal with people not liking his face, or like really not liking his face and bullying it because of it. And it's just such a good story, and we get multiple perspectives, which I do think is a good important part of the story, integral, and we see just how he grows up and his relationships with his family and with new friends, old friends, and I just think it's so well done. I feel like it must be a read for everyone. You can learn so much from it, even if you're older. It's still an amazing book. Yes, this is my favorite children's book, but I'm not 100% sure if it counts as a children's book because it is like a novel. But I think it's middle grade. I don't know. So, yes. The next one is Double Shot of Espresso. Name a book that kept you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. I just went with a book that I found extremely addicting and that I just couldn't put it down, and I've read it multiple times in one go just because it's so addictingly good. I don't think it has me on my edge of my seat because it isn't like epic or anything, but it still like kept me very much entertained, very much hooked, and very much wanting to know what happens next. And that is Daughter of the Pirate King by Tricia Levenseller. Now, this book gets a lot of hate from some people saying it's not that good. Actually, I love it. It is a fun time and it will keep you entertained for a good 2 to 3 hours. Maybe less, maybe more, I don't know how you read. But anyway, it will keep you very much entertained, and it definitely kept me entertained. And this is a story about a girl called Elosa who stows away on a pirate ship and pretends she is getting captured so she can search the ship. And it's a pirate story set in the sea, and it has a badass main character, a great kind of like enemies to lovers but done properly. Like, they are enemies but they kind of like each other, and it's really good. I really enjoy this series now because there's 3 books out, but definitely the first one, this one, is my favorite, and this is the OG cover. That's how you know I liked this a long time ago, that I have loved this for a long time. And I'll just reread it for fun because it is just honestly such a fun read. The next one is Starbucks. Name a book that you see everywhere. I feel like this book will come to no surprise to anyone who's been anywhere recently. It doesn't really matter if you're a reader or not, you have seen this book somewhere. And that is Fourth Wing. I will insert a picture here because I don't own it. I want to at some point give it a shot, but I don't own it currently, and I don't really have plans to read it soon. I kind of want to read it when the hype dies down, which I don't see happening considering she just released the 3rd book. This is a book that is everywhere. It has taken BookTube by storm, it has taken BookTok by storm. I walked down and saw this huge poster for it on a building that was like getting renovated. You know, those kind of like poster things that they show so like stuff doesn't fall. It was one of those, and I was shocked to see Fourth Wing on it. I was like, there's no way usually a book gets this much like publicity, and it's in a different language here. Like it's just, I think it's done very well. It is the BookTok phenomenon. It is a insane hype over it. So yes, I see it everywhere. Next is That Hipster Coffee Book. Give a book by an indie author a shout out. I love this prompt because it literally gives me a chance to talk about one of my favorite series ever. Tariq El Shafrullah, who is the author of the Cat's Eye Chronicles, which I love so much. These books are YA fantasy perfection. I do not understand how they're not published properly, but they are. And I recently ordered the last book, the 6th book, which came out in October, and I then forgot. Which is a crime in itself because I've been waiting for that book for legit. When did I finish this now? 2017? This was published in 2011. I was waiting for at least 2017, 2018. I've been waiting since then to get the new book, and I've just been rereading the first 5 books over and over again, which are so good, especially the first 3. I love them. This is about a girl called Sora, and who ends up running away from her very privileged life in a mansion because she doesn't want to marry some random person that is assigned to her who she doesn't love, and she low-key kind of wants to find her mother who went missing a long time ago. So she goes on the run, and she stumbles, sort of gets captured by this guy who's an assassin who's on his own run from something else that's even worse than him, and them with a few unlikely more characters, very lovable characters, go on this quest to have a journey together, essentially. And I love it so much. It is so good. It is very much a quest fantasy, so if you like that, you'll like this. And it's YA, and it is so good. And honestly, my favorite thing is definitely the romance. Like, I'm not gonna even lie, the magic world in this is also pretty interesting, but the romance, guys, the romance in this one is just so good. And that's considering like nothing happens in this book, which it's a slow burn. The next one is Oops, I Accidentally Got Decaf. Name a book where you were expecting more. I am going to put Set Fire to the Gods by Sarah Rash and Kristen Simmons. I did like this. I don't want to put this off that this is a bad book or that it is not good at all. I think it was fine. I gave it a 3-star, I'm pretty sure. If I changed angle, I'm so sorry. My camera died, and so I kind of moved it around a bit. So, and anyway, what was I saying? I expected a lot more from this book because it is written by Sarah Rash, who wrote the Snow Like Ashes trilogy, and she also wrote these Rebel Waves duology, and I love those. I read those back to back, and then when I heard that this was a series that she had, I also immediately wanted to get it. I immediately wanted to read it, and I came off from loving these Rebel Waves. I don't know what it's called, but I remember loving that duology so much. And then coming to this one, it was kind of lackluster, and this is also marketed as Gladiator meets Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I think it just isn't. I mean, I can see where they're trying to draw that, but I feel like those two elements are kind of very big and there's some big shoes to fill, and it doesn't quite live up to that standard, I guess. It's a fun YA time that isn't extremely high stakes or anything. It's just a fun time, but I don't think it's like as insane as Avatar: The Last Airbender, or won't tug at your heartstrings like Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's very much just like a 3-star read that's a fun time to pass the time. So yes, in this one we follow Madoc and what's her name? Madoc and Ash, who are from 2 different countries essentially that are ruled by gods, and these gods have declared war on each other, and the way they fight wars in this world is by gladiators, and which I do remember finding kind of cool, like a new concept of gladiators. They fought the wars instead of like sending armies into these places. The thing is that gladiators are supposed to have powers. They have like elemental magic powers, I guess. So Ash has fire powers and Madoc doesn't have powers. He is very much faking his way through it. And then these 2 get pitted against one another, and it kind of goes from there. And it's a fun, as I've said before, it's a fun time. I was just expecting more, having read her other work and loved it so much. Yes, but it's still a fun book, so like I don't really want to like make anyone mad. I'm sorry for all the noise because I live in the middle of a city. It's just gonna happen. The perfect blend. Name a book or series that was both bitter and sweet and ultimately satisfying. Okay, this might be a little controversial because I know a lot of people don't like the ending of this series, but we're gonna talk about Attack on Titan. I know. Who is she? Because people do not like the ending of it. And I get it. I get why you don't like it, but I personally love it. I do get a little it's a little bit bitter because I didn't see it coming, and at the same time I did, and at the same time I'm disappointed, and at the same time it was like a good ending because I couldn't see it working out either way. If you've read it, you know this is a 34 volume manga series that is very popular. Honestly, it's one of the biggest ones out there in terms of popularity, and it is so well done. We are in this dystopian fantasy world where there's some titans who are attacking the people, and the people have had to live in these walls, and the outer wall got broken into at the very beginning of the story, and it kind of goes from there. We follow some members who are intent on getting revenge over their loved ones because they died and want to get rid of these monsters by any means possible, and it's very good. It's very interesting to see kind of like how their world works, how their security system works, how they survive living within these walls. It's just so entertaining. It's so good, and it does handle kind of like real world topics in this weird fantasy world, and it still have the same issues, and I think it is very well done, and I do enjoy the ending, even though I would say it was bitter, but ultimately satisfying for me. Personally, I found it okay. If you can like feel like you can commit to a longer series, because I personally don't think 34 volumes is that long. I think it is a normal okay-ish, it's a long amount but not too long, like it's not Fairy Tail or anything or One Piece, but it's an okay length series, and I do think it is done well. There are a few volumes that I feel like could have been left out or very much abbreviated, but there's so much lore, there's so much world building in this world. There's just so many little details that are so interesting, and I really like it. That's why I chose it for the perfect blend. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. I will see you guys in my next one. Until then, let me know your favorite coffee type, because mine is definitely iced coffee. And let me know what would you answer for these questions, and I will catch you on my next one. Bye!